Hey, this is Jeff Jones with the special vaccine behind the scenes segment interview that I promised you that I would have with Djuan Short. If you've listened to the full episode where we was talking about her book, Healing on Purpose, you saw that we got into a robust conversation about all the dope things that Healing on Purpose encompasses. And we were talking about some of the things she does as a business wellness coach, but we didn't get a chance to go into detail about that. So this is a special YouTube channel only segment of Community Voice PHL with Djuan Short. She's not a doctor. She shared me she's not a doctor. But if you want to pay for a doctorate, she's open to that.
I'm ready. I mean, if somebody want to pay for me to go to school, listen, you'll have a good return on investment, okay?
There you go. There you go. Talk about return on investment. Let's get into about your business wellness coach. Now, that's a unique title. I haven't really heard too much about a business wellness coach. Talk to our viewers and even share with me, what is a business wellness coach and how do you walk people through the process of being well in their business? Is it just like entrepreneurs who just got businesses who are sick and bleeding cash, or is it got someone that has no focus in their vision? What does a business wellness coach do?
Okay. So how the name came to be. So about a year ago, about this time last year, I had decided that I was going to do a coaching program, and I wanted to focus on spiritual entrepreneurs, primarily individuals who look to their spiritual well-being, really, to help them direct themselves with the businesses that they're creating, right? So that's thinking about, are they someone who prides themselves on meditation? Are they someone who, whether you call it, say God, you say the universe, you say Allah, like however you identify your connection with higher power, someone who is really allowing themselves to be guided and have divine, intervention, but also divine guidance for what happens next in their business. I had solely been focusing in on that. And so I did that for a while and it was fun, but I was like, okay, maybe I need to revamp something. So when I came up with the Wellness Business Coach, I was thinking a lot about the type of women that are similar to myself, but also women that, I'm meeting in it every day. And a lot of women that I'm coming across are constantly trying to figure out how do they leave their jobs and leaving their jobs really because they're burnt out. And it is something that they want to do, but maybe not necessarily in the same scope of practice that they've been always operating. And again, the COVID really allowed a lot of people to see that work can be done from a variety of different ways. And so even myself, I had been, working in a traditional work setting, and I started being like, oh, wait, like I can do my work from anywhere, essentially, and just really seeing what new opportunities that was bringing in. And so when I decided to coin the term, business wellness coach, it really was from the standpoint of, well, Djuan, you teach women how to, be well in their mental, their emotional, their relational, but also financial and occupational and environmental, right? And so there's other areas that I do the coaching in as well, but it was like, you do this and it also helps people to develop the businesses that they desire, right? And you give them frames and focusing and things like that, but it's really helping people to hone in on, what's coming up for them from a very energetic space, and also using their spiritual connections to show up for their businesses. And primarily because that's what I do in my business. But I also have found that a lot of women, we are big prayers, we do all that stuff. So it's like, how do you take that, put it in your business, so that way you're not really trying to operate the way that you see the world operating about business, but you're letting spirit help you develop your business, because that's essentially where your purpose is connected to.
Got you. So from your experiential level of, is it Wellness Business Coach? Was I pronouncing it wrong? Is it Wellness Business Coach?
It's Wellness Business Coach, but it's also business wellness coaching, right? It's essentially the same exact thing, right? Like we are teaching you how to be well in your business. And a lot of it is women who are burnt out, overwhelmed, feeling chaotic, trying to figure out how do I manage everything, and not managing nothing all at the same time.
Got you. I just was hoping I wasn't mispronouncing, because I know I said business wellness coach. And I
get what you're saying. And people are going to be like, so wellness business coach is exactly the same thing. The words are just in the reverse. Got
you. But so from your experience, you realize that there's a level of balance that you have to have as you show up in your profession to be able to be proficient at that. And again, I can't but only imagine as a Black woman having that space of business wellness. even like if you're working for somebody, having that sense of wellness at work is different. But when you have your own business, it's kind of looked at in a whole different dynamic, because now, as a Black woman, as being Black and as a woman, those are two, like, if you will, markers against you, if I can say that in that way. And then you have your own business. So it's just like, yeah, she's a Black woman business owner. And if you're not well in that space, it's hard to navigate. So from your experience for being now a Black woman owning your own business and then teaching others to show up, is there experiential lessons that have been built into your skill sets as well?
Yeah, definitely. Right. Like earlier we were talking about, semantics with the words, right? So being able to go from employee to the boss to being an owner. Very different mindsets, right? Like I'm a boss because I've had to supervise people. But being an owner means that you are allowing other people to support you in your visions being manifested, right? And so having an owner mindset means that you don't have to do everything. So you learn how to outsource, right? And I teach a lot of women, how do you outsource in your day-to-day life in order to help make everything else work, in the way that you need to. I remember the first time that I got a housekeeper and I was like, oh my God, like, right. It's like, who does she think she is that she needs a housekeeper? Yeah. But in reality, it's like, well, if I have a housekeeper, then someone is doing that. And that gives me more time to give, to my friends or to my family. It allows me to free up time in other spaces, right? And so we stop trading time for money and you start allowing yourself to do the things that you want to, because owners have people who deliver the different types of visions that they are working on, right? Like I may have an idea and I would say to my team, this is what I'm thinking. How can we make this happen? And then the team is like, well, we can put these things together. And then we do that. But in our regular day-to-day lives, especially as women, we have so many things that we're trying to do. But if we don't, have other people helping us, whether it's a housekeeper, a landscaper, or whatever, then how are you getting all of these things done? You start to become overwhelmed. You're stressed out. You take it out on your husband. You take it out on your partner. You take it out on your children. And then you take it out on yourself. You're not doing well, right? And then we remedy it with, let's go get our nails done. Let's go get our hair done, right? And it's like, but those are short-term fixes to long-term issues.
Yeah. So, well, in looking at those short-term fixes, though, that's what society says we need to do. Go to have a spa day, go do this. When a lot of times, at least from what it sounds like you're saying, a lot of times it's internal, right? And I know you broke it down to the people that, it impacts, but does it often sometimes impact the woman first, and then it just bleeds out to others? Like, you said it impacts the children, the husband, the partner, yada, yada, and then the woman. But is it sometimes the other way around? It impacts the woman and then it spills out to those other people?
So I would say it does, but 9 times out of 10, as women, we don't recognize it's impacting us until we see it impacting everybody else. And then everybody's kind of like, yo, like, what's going on with you? Right? So it's almost like everybody around you become a mirror for how you're acting. And then you have to take a moment to like check yourself. And so one of the reasons why I have coined the term like wellness business coaches, because for a lot of individuals, what you may hear is like, oh, well, how do you help the business to be well? Well, if you really think about it, you're the business, you're your brand, right? Like, so, even for yourself and Jackie, like if someone was like, oh, well, what's going on with you and with Jackie, right? That also has implications what happens with your brand, right? And so at the end of the day, if you're not well, your brand isn't well, because you're the owner, you're the person that is putting out this vision, and that's who people are looking to, right? Like you become an influencer, you become a brand, you become something that is synonymous with this. And so when people see you and they're like, yo, she's not taking care of herself, she's not eating well, she's not sleeping, she's up all time of the night, how is she actively taking care of the things that she is responsible for? Well, she's not. So if you as the owner aren't well, then your business isn't well. You're spending frivolously, right? There's no budget in place. You are out here doing all types of things, right? We get, and us women, right? Like we love shiny objects, right? I tell my boyfriend all the time, I'm like, I have this thing where I'm like, ooh. And I'm like, I need more discipline. But we do that. And especially as a business owner, sometimes you can't do that. We have to learn how to do things and get into a good routine so then we can see, does this really work? Does this method really work? And so a lot of the methods I use with my clients, I've been using them consistently because I know that they work. And then when something is kind of off, it's like, okay, you go in and you make you do a pivot, you make a change, right? And so for a lot of people, having a wellness business coach, which a lot of people don't have, right? Because everybody's like, I just need to figure out, how do I make six figures? How do I make this money? How do I make this new project or this product? Nobody talks about, well, how do I make myself well? Like, yes, go to therapy. But what we're also talking about is, how are you operating in your business? How are you showing for yourself in all areas of your life? And then how does it translate in the business? And so, I think about it like this. If the business fails, right, like, it's a reflection of what's going on with you. If you want to make a certain level of money, then you also have to be an energetic match for that money, right? Like, you can't say, well, I want clients, that's paying me $10,000, and you're not showing up as a person who
you're giving off $5 worth of energy.
Right, like, you're giving off $5. Like, so then you're going to get the $5 clients, or clients that don't really, value what it is that you're saying. So you want to be an attractive person for the type of people that you want to work with, right? Like, you are someone who is in the community. So you want people who care about the community connecting with you, showing up on your shows, and also wanting to do work in the community, right? Like, you don't want there to be a mismatch or a misalignment, right? Like, that's how people end up in divorces, right? So we don't want to divorce our business.
That's for sure. But a lot of people do it anyway. They are negligent of the responsibilities and that relational value of how their business. And I like the fact that you said, there's that mirror aspect, you're giving back what people are seeing in you. And I like the fact also you mentioned we have to take care of ourselves, because that's a reflection of how our business goes. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. They look at it like they do everything, the grind culture, you got to grind. And little do they know that's wearing themselves out, and then they're no longer any good for their business. And talk about, real quick, as we wrap this segment up, talk about 3 tips that you can give from the Wellness Business Coach, and the aspect of wearing a mask, not because of COVID, but wearing a mask because you don't want to see nobody to see who you really are apart from your business, because your business defines who you are, but I don't want to really show them the real Jeff. So I wear a mask of community voice. And all the while Jeff is crumbling, people think maybe community voice is the greatest thing in the world. When at the end of the day, community voice is slowly dying, because so too is Jeff. But I'm wearing a mask. So talk about those 2 things, the 3 tips, and then removing the mask in the wellness business coach space.
So I'll kind of integrate the 2 of them. So the first thing that I want to say is visibility, right? So when you are someone who you own a business, right? Like, you are an owner. So you have to be willing to let go of an employee mindset and a boss mindset in order to become an owner. So for those of you who are like, dang, like, I own a business, but I'm kind of doing this, kind of doing that. You don't want to become an employee of your business. So you want to be the owner, right? Like, because an employee, well, you're just trading one situation. So my suggestion would be, come up with your own definitions for what does it mean to be an employee, what does it mean to be a boss, and what does it mean to be an owner, right? And as you look at those differences, identify where do you fit and what needs to change, right? And so once you do that, then also think about, this would be tip 2, what is depleting you and then what's elevating you. So I would get out like a little white sheet of paper, make a list, elevation, depletion in the middle, and think about, what are you currently doing in your business that is elevating you, allowing you to get to the goals that you're desiring, and what's depleting you. Once you have that list, the things that are depleting you, if you don't want to do those things, but it's necessary for your business, then figure out, how can you outsource it? How can you make your life easier so that you can do the things that you really like to do, which is the fun things, right? Who do you need to have on your team in order for you to still get that need being met, especially if it's a necessity? If it's not a necessity, cut it. Why are we doing things that we don't like to do, right? Like, is it an obligation? Says who, right? So let it go. for the things that are elevating you, how can you do more of that? Right? Like if that's going to generate more income, if that's going to make you feel fun, or that's going to allow you to work from anywhere, which is a really big thing right now, how can you do more of that? And then the third thing I would say is visibility, right? So most of us, we need the visibility. People want to know who we are. People want to know if I'm buying this, or I'm saying I want to connect with this, what they're really, buying into is you, right? So like, the people are buying into Jeff and Jackie, right? The people are buying into Djuan, and then this is just my company that I own, right? And so if I'm not 100% honest and being like, listen, like I was nervous to do that other segment, and doing this is like, by now I'm like, all right, Jeff, we're we got
this thing going.
I want we could do COVID hugs, whatever that means. Like we're good. So, a lot of times people want to know who is the real you. And I tell people all the time, the person that my friends get is the same person my clients get, which is the same person my family gets. There's no differences. Yes, am I educated? Cool, that's great. But I'm always going to be me. So people want to know who is the real you. So that goes into like taking off the mask. You don't have to put on airs for people to like you, right? So come in, be your real you, because when you're most authentic, not only do other people see it, but you also start seeing it for yourself. And so a lot of people feel like they have to be, this person at work and this person at home. No, when you start to learn how to integrate who you are, that's when you most like show up for yourself. And you're like, I don't care what other people say because I'm okay with me. So I would definitely say those are like my top 3 in terms of wellness, business coaching, because it all comes back to how do you show up for your business, because the business is you at the end of the day. The business doesn't flourish if you're not.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So I thank you for taking time to do this behind the stage, back scenes, wellness business coach session. And if you want to know more about how to get your business well, or how to maintain health in your business and yourself, give them ways that you can reach out to you. I know we talked about in the last segment, but for the business wellness portion, just give them that information again, and we'll have it in the show notes as well.
So again, they can reach out to me via my website, Dahlia Rose Wellness Center. You can Google that. You can also just Google Djuan Short, DJUANSHORT. Again, you can also go to my Instagram account, DARO Wellness. It's all together because at the end of the day, it all kind of feeds one another. But those would be the biggest ways that you can get in contact with me. If you Google me, you'll find me. That's all.
She's Googleable. That's, when you get to that level, it's a great thing.
The SEOs work, okay? The SEOs work, and you put in Philly therapist, Philly Black therapist, you'll find me that way. You can listen, I'm out here, so come find me.
She's out there. So again, if you got a business, even if your business is doing well and you need to have some fine tuning, it's just like an automobile or any type of appliance that you have. The way you maintain is the way it lasts longer. The way you maintain is the way you sustain it. So the way you maintain your business. So the way you can use that. Take that with you.
You better go and trademark that. Listen.
Nah, you can take that with you. Run with it. I got plenty more. But in all seriousness, we thank you for this segment. But again, we'll have all that in the show notes. But we want you to maintain your business well, maintain yourself well. Please listen to the first half of the segment. We talked about health, wholeness, and wellness, healing on purpose. We talked about that in a great extent. But we wanted to drop this special episode of the behind the scenes segment of wellness business coaching and well businesses being coached by Djuan Short. So thanks again for taking time to be on Community Voice for this backstage segment. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this is Jeff Jones on behalf of Jacqueline Jordan for the successful segment of Community Voice. We out, and if it's happening in your community, we always need to hear your voice. Peace.
See you guys.